auto electrical engineer and working structural engineering, amount not to exceed $86,950.
Thank you. So this is, again, amendment number 4 for $64,450 and number 5 for $22,500. The amendments are with Wallace Group as the prime contractor. However, those costs are directly for, in large part directly for their subcontractors. Amendment number 4 is to encompass design changes predominantly for operational use, some changes regarding that were necessary due to the change in permit status. Those are the driving factor at 10 Oak Studio. Some of the building size changed slightly, which increased overall cost. Changes to the design for the building changed the need for modifications for structural engineering and for 3C engineering, which is mechanical and plumbing. As stated in the report, for amendment number 4, Wallace Group is not marking that up at all. So we're saving the 15% on those costs. Amendment number 5 has to do with the location of the meter section and disconnects for the treatment plant and the solar array. Several years ago, those components were moved towards the center of the plant to be more central to reduce overall costs. However, due to PG&E and their permitting process, and especially on the solar side, we are not able to do that, even though that was sort of relayed from them in the beginning that we could do that. Their final ruling was that we can't do that. If we do that, it basically requires us to resubmit for solar, which takes us out of NEM 2.0 and automatically puts it in NEM 3.0, which is not advantageous for us. So moving the meter section and the disconnect for solar back to the west gate of the treatment plant is where it was originally shown on the solar application several years ago, and will allow us to stay in that NEM 3.0. So on amendment number 5, those costs are to redesign just the meter section, and the associated underground utilities. It would go from the meter section to the electrical building, which is still central to the treatment plant. And so both of these amendments together are a total of $86,950, and approval of these amendments will allow me to sign them and to submit them for change.
Okay. Any board comments or questions?
I don't have any at this time. We've been over this project before, so this is essential to moving it forward. So as to not delay the process.
I got a question. Now this Wallace Group, I think we're already into them for what, over $1 million? I know it's 900 and something thousand.
Yeah,
on design and so on. So we give Wallace them, so now they're gonna subcontract this out. I mean, where's it gonna end?
So these subcontractors were part of this program the entire time.
Right, okay.
So a lot of the money that was part of the Wallace Group contract went to the subcontractor, because each one of these that are listed in this report provide a separate service for this whole thing. Like 10 Oak Studios is an architect, 3C Engineering is mechanical and plumbing. Murphy Structural Engineering is the structural engineer for all the slabs and the buildings. Auto Electrical is the electrical engineer for the project. So each one has their own function. So although Wallace Group is the prime contractor, they are not, not every dollar that we give them goes to them. Most of it goes to these other contractors.
Right, okay, I understand that. And my other question is, has anybody considered downgrading that, just upgrading the supplement plant? And why did we need a 9,200 square foot building there?
So as was discussed in numerous other meetings, the building layout and design, or layout and size, was brought to the board for approval before moving forward. The building that was proposed, and is still part of the design right now, was essentially the 20 to 50 year plan. So we don't have to build another building. We would have something that would last us longer than all of us probably.
Well, here's my thought. We don't have the money, the state don't have the money, and you're not gonna get any from the federal government. And if, for right now, I say just eliminate that huge building and let's upgrade the treatment plant and be done with that part. We don't need that huge building sitting there.
So as was discussed, I believe 2 months ago, this project, because of the lack of funding, is going to be phased. But even if we were to say, okay, well, we're not going to build a building anymore, it would be sort of ridiculous to stop at 95% of the plan for the building. So we still have to finish the site improvements, or the planning for the site improvements, which includes a building. Whether it's that building or we throw that one in the trash and do something else, you still have to do the site improvements for a building, because you can't just...
Site improvement, but I'm for that
No,
building.
and I understand your point, and your point is well taken, and it was discussed, like I said, I think 2 months ago. So when this comes back to the board for contracting, or for bid proposal and for contracting, it's going to be a phased project. The building is not a critical component, but it is something for the long-term planning of this district. So when it comes back, it's going to come back with a proposal with some sort of phasing that may or may not include the building, but the building is not a priority. The treatment process itself is the priority, and I've hopefully made that pretty clear the entire time.
That's what I'm saying. Let's do the upgrade like the state said. All we gotta do is upgrade that.
Right. And all we're trying to do is finish the plans at this point, so we can put it out to bid.
So, all right, thanks.
Go ahead.
Can I say something?
Sure.
Thank you. Again, a little foresight for the community. If you don't build it now, you build it in 20 years, 15 years, it may cost half again as much, double as much as the way things go up. So this is long-term planning for the community to have this building in place. So if you don't do it, you're going to have to build it down the road and cost the residents of this town considerably more. So we're doing something not for ourselves, and as was said, we may not be here to benefit from it, but our children and our children's children will be able to benefit from it. Thank you.
I would say, my concern with this at this point is that we have 2 amendments, change orders, that total almost $90,000. What is the total of change orders 1, 2, and 3?
And I don't think that was included on here. There is no amendment number 3, ironically. But,
I mean, they're mentioned in the discussion, there's a cost associated, but I guess where I'm going with this, is I understand that the designs do change over time, but are these changes that could have been foreseen, are the changes that are happening now based on assumptions we made when the initial plan was created for the upgrade?
so I would say 95% of these changes were not able to be seen in the beginning. As I'm sure you're aware through your business or your employment, you try to make the best case for including everything you can in the beginning. Part of our problem with this particular project is the amount of time that's progressed since we started this project to now. Technology has improved, our requirements have improved, or not improved, they've gotten worse for us, but the requirements have changed, the technology has improved, and that's where amendment number 2 came in, was a change in process that wasn't really available when we started this. So there was a huge change to that at that point. The cost that we're looking at today, potentially some of them could have been mitigated at a different point, but I don't think that they would have all been mitigated. Some of them, as we've been doing throughout this whole project, really are through value engineering and engineering to ensure efficient operation. And those two things right there, you can't really predict too much in the future, or from an RFP bid perspective, you can't really predict those and how it's going to develop. I can say that we have been pushing back, both myself and our district engineer have been pushing back a lot on the Walls Group and their subcontractors on overall costs, because we don't feel that that all of the costs should be on us. So this is a very, very scaled down version of what they were asking for, which both myself and our district engineer feel is appropriate for the work that we actually received that was not due to their actions beyond direction.
Okay, fair enough.
With that said though, number 5 is something that we try to do through value engineering by consolidating all the electrical equipment. And as I mentioned earlier, we were under the impression that PG&E would allow it, but PG&E works at a snail's pace. And when they finally came around to the final answer, it was not what the original answer was. So that one, if we had left it well enough alone, it would have cost us more in the end, well more than what we're looking at right now.
Understood. And the funding for this is still grant funded?
This is still grant funded. I believe we were awarded 1.9 million, and we're still within that.
Okay. Any other board comments or questions?
I have a question.
They answered my question. Nope.
So the monies that we're expending now will be refunded to the district out of the grant, right?
So we're billing quarterly to the state for any costs incurred in that quarter, and it's being refunded generally in the 90-day window.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, do we have any public comment on this item? We do not. Do we have a motion? Motion to approve.
I'll second it.
I have a motion on the floor by Director Beatty, second by Director Smiley. Correct?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, just way back here, can't hear that well. To approve amendment number 4 and amendment number 5, not to exceed $86,950. We'll have a vote. Director Smiley.
Yes.
Director Green.
Yes.
Director Davis.
No,
Director Beatty.
Yes.
Director Sangster.
Yes.
Passes 4-1, 0 absence.
Okay. We'll adjourn to the GSA, Groundwater Sustainability Agency meeting.
At
7:55.
Mr. President.
Yes. Okay.
You want to take a 5-minute recess?
5-minute recess is fine.
Oh, you gotta go through? I still a lot of it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
We're gonna do the
I know they jumped the gun on me.
What's happened in the last couple of weeks. I have words to it. Board meeting, Shane board meeting.
She's the one that put
And, and also
You're a jerk.
board supervisor.
One of them that we can just kind of,
So I've got
It's done.
information, you might be.
But it's still part of it, so you probably has to be memorialized.
So you're gonna give me more, I'll do it. Not.
It's not up to me exclusively, it's the entire.
We have these, they fail
Oh, look right there.
quite often.
love my,
I'll go to,
I'll get the name. And I had it for like,
they got a cold lab dinner.
no, but it's, has like.
He said, Danny Arnold, let's go. So that's why I came.
I like it too, you can get different,
Told me to come stand it for.
Yeah, we don't need different pieces, but I need to.
Anyway.
Double A batteries. They're not rechargeable. Because
basic.
it will, yeah.
That's a good question.
Looks like it'd be pretty
Track
simple.
Down the
It's like 18,
sold
20
for
bucks.
that.
Yeah, there's.
Got the actual guy that was working on it. Nice guy, professional. So I wanted to know what the status. And I heard from EPC board meeting
I saw that the
that,
ranch though.
oh, that they've been working with the consultant, so you know that. And that it was almost done. So all I was doing was asking where they were at in the process, you know,
Oh, they'll deliver to me?
Yeah.
We'll
just
get
a
some?
quote.
Well, let's get some sauce.
I've been ordered by the GSA and their attorney not to speak to the public about any of it.
So good. No.
So the other day at the supervisor meeting, I jumped on the county administrator about it. And we have a phone meeting tomorrow morning on that and other issues related to all the practice.
You're having electronic.
Because he's supposed to be overseeing this whole situation stuff. No, the county administrator, CAO. No, that's a guy named Matt Pond.
You can actually walk through. Yeah, that's my two in my house.
You know, 'cause- and I told him about this.
Hey Davis, what are you doing tomorrow?
I may have,
I'll have to look into this.
How about tomorrow morning?
I got about 5 hours.
I got a big day ahead, but if I get up there around 8:30 or 9.
Then they canceled, you know,
Around 9.
without any
Sounds great.
comment.
See you then.
And then
I'll be
they
ready.
released
What are you
the
gonna do
public
with me?
comment
Make you
period
do things.
put out for the annual.
What kind of thing?
SPPC thing.
You know, did you see the notice on it?
Oh, that federal fund.
Oh, okay. No, it was yesterday,
There's no snap.
26.
Scratching your head with me, whatever happened.
Yeah.
Anyway, but the thing has to be filed by the first. So how are they gonna do any changes, have a hearing, a meeting, for public comment, and if they make changes, they have to have another meeting.
Didn't happen.
No, it was all set up. And then the other- So there's a meeting for the new GPA group, and they're not even formed, so it's.
Bring me another one if you need it.
Just for the meeting. Old Camp City Public Library.
We'll reconvene at 8 PM.
Okay?
How come it's not in North
So-
County?
Mr. Powell.
And I talked with the Sean.
Gentlemen,
Meeting adjourned.
11.1.
okay, item 11.1. Status of Paso Basin Cooperative Committee, PBCC, discussion only.
So this item was asked to be brought back to get a better idea of what would happen to the PVCC after we did not join the JPA. Essentially, at this point, the county has sent out a letter which was forwarded to the board. I'm not sure if you had a chance to read it. I have it available if you'd like me to read it. But essentially, since the other four parties agreed to the JPA and have signed the JPA four-party agreement, the MOA, they have essentially withdrawn from the MOA and PVCC, which leaves San Miguel, which can't be in the MOA by itself. That's what was described last time. So essentially, the PVCC was dissolved with the action of them, the four agencies signing the JPA.
Not yet. It's not dissolved yet because there's a
Didn't the meeting get
30-day
canceled?
period. So it's not dissolved.
Didn't the meeting get canceled?
So they canceled the meeting that would have been held yesterday.
Yeah. Illegal.
Legally, they have to have 30 days, right?
So as Christina said, the withdrawal is a 30-day withdrawal window. So essentially, they're not scheduling any more meetings for the next 30 days. So the effect is essentially the same.
Okay. So it seems to me in the letter there was, Mr. Reilly was suggesting that the MOU be dissolved, but that requires unanimous agreement from all parties of the MOU, is that correct?
A termination of the MOA would require unanimous consent,
Yeah.
but a withdrawal of 4 out of 5 would result in a dissolution by de facto. You can't have one party in an MOA, so it is essentially, the difference is with a termination, typically the parties would agree to the terms of that termination, the length of time, the funding responsibilities for any encumbrances that exist, whereas with the withdrawal, it's automatic. All the parties, any party who withdraws is committed to funding that has already been approved and contracts that have already been signed, that sort of thing. And so in this case, what that means is the annual report and the 5-year evaluation have already been committed to by all parties. And so the funding mechanisms for that would not change. As far as I know, there isn't anything else that has been approved to the point of being an encumbrance on the PVCC. So there shouldn't be any other costs associated with this withdrawal/dissolution.
So the parties that were in the MOU would be obligated for any financial commitments through the end of the fiscal year or through the term of whatever costs are associated with something related to the MOU.
So it's through this fiscal year budget. And so for that, it is, like I said, the 1-year evaluation or the 5-year evaluation and the annual report. And those, I'm not sure what the timeline is for those to be completed, but that may extend beyond the fiscal year. And under the agreement, you would still be committed to your portion, which is 12% of cost for that.
So 3%?
3%, excuse me. No, cash those.
She's giving away the farm.
3%, excuse me.
So for the annual report, so I guess in case somebody didn't get this part, that because of the issues that were happening with the county and the budgeting for PVCC, the contract for the annual report and the contract for the GSP evaluation, those contractors were billing each GSA directly for their percentage. So Confluence, who's doing the annual report, is billing us directly for our 3%. So once they're concluded with their work, they'll bill us our final bill and that'll be done. That should be done we should get our final bill in April for that. The GSP evaluation, I don't know how much longer that will take, probably not that much longer. So both those should be done by the end of the fiscal year, which is what was anticipated. So our next fiscal year budget shouldn't have any of those costs. In the future, what those project, or what the annual report costs us, we don't really know what that looks like at this point. It could cost us nothing, it could cost us quite a bit of money. There is a lot of interest from the other GSAs and the county in particular in working with us to ensure that we don't have exorbitant costs related to being on our own, which is appreciated. But we do have a meeting, or I have a meeting with the county to sort of discuss that, and once we have a better idea, then we can bring that back. We can share that with the board on what we're planning to do going forward.
Okay. So for all practical purposes, we don't have any action to take with regards to the MOA.
So if we do nothing, it goes, essentially will be dissolved through withdrawal of the other 4 members. This board could elect to agree to terminate the MOA, in which case the net result is still the same.
Okay.
But yes, you're correct, nothing has to be done. And we're not actually asking for anything to be done.
Yep. Understood. Okay. Any board comment questions, gentlemen?
No, I'm going to wait on public comment, and I'd like to request that Mr. Powell have 5 minutes instead of 3 minutes.
So you just need a consensus of the board to allow that.
Okay,
everyone.
Everybody would have to have 5 minutes.
Correct. Okay with it. I'm fine with 5. Yeah.
So we have consensus of the board to allow 5 minutes per public speech.
All right, thank you.
Any other board comment?
So we, real quick, so next month is when we'll find out exactly what the cost is, our cost is gonna be. Is that what you were saying? I'm sorry.
I don't know if it'll be next month, but I have a meeting with the county to discuss what it looks like for us, whether, if they're gonna do it essentially little or no cost to us, or, what that looks like.
Okay.
Part of this will also depend on what DWR wants to do. If they are mad at us for some reason, then maybe it'll be worse for us. But all intensive purposes right now, it looks like it'll be a minimal cost for us, so long as we don't take on any significant projects.
Thank you.
I got a question for Mr. Kelly. You're going to have a meeting, or is Mr. Berkeley going to be there?
So I, the general manager, am having a meeting with the county.
Right. Okay, and our representative isn't going to be there?
Well, Mr. Baker was the representative for the PBCC.
Right. Well, could we, I guess it's an open meeting, right? It ain't gonna be a closed door meeting, is that correct?
I don't know what the orientation of the meeting is at this point, so I can't really tell you.
Yeah. Well, I think we should have somebody other than a staff member representing the district and the board.
Okay.
This meeting is not a decision, it's a talk, correct?
It's an informational fact-finding mission. It's not,
That's all.
I, as a general manager, have some authority, but I don't have authority over what the board's gonna do. So any sort of decision would have to come back to the board anyway. So the information that I discover or determine would have to come back to you.
The county's pretty well known for closed door meetings.
Well, there is some people in the county that do that.
Yeah.
This is not that type of meeting, and I'm
Right.
meeting with the supervisors.
Yeah. So, all right.
Okay, we'll open it up for public comment.
I think you're first.
First of all, I'm absolutely in support of you not terminating your membership in the MOA, and I did not quite understand the explanations from your attorney on why 4 out of 5, which is not unanimous, dissolves the MOA. I don't understand that. She mentioned something about an amendment, and I'm not sure what amendment she's talking about that said it doesn't have to be a unanimous vote to dissolve.
When we get through your comments and maybe we should provide that clarity after.
So anyway, so that's one thing. Yeah, it was interesting, that PDC meeting got canceled the other day with no explanation, because that was the last opportunity to try to get some information as to what the hell is really going on. And you guys do have, I know you have it because I gave it to you before, about the 2 provisions in the MOA about terminations. And the other question I have is, I was told there was a letter that went out from really terminating all 4 of those GSAs, but what was the actual date of that letter? Because it's 30 days, I guess, from the date of that letter, and I don't, what was the date? That's the question. Secondly, I find it kind of strange that each one of these GSAs did not, by itself, because they're all independent, actually notice their own terminations. And as far as I know, and I've been to several of the GSA meetings, I'll put the county aside, but the EPC and the San Juan GSAs, I don't believe ever had, they're the same as you guys, public meetings, the whole thing. I don't think they ever had a motion and an approval on an agenda item to actually terminate. So I don't believe, if I'm correct, then I don't think they've legally been terminated as of today by the rules. So that's an issue. Anyway, so a couple other things I found out in the San Juan meeting I went to yesterday, board meeting. So the GPA has scheduled a meeting on April 7th. It's in Slow-Kent City Library. They can't even have the meetings up where the Paso Robles Basin is. You know, it's amazing to me how these guys are operating. And as far as we understand, the GPA has not been formed. So whatever that meeting is, it will not be